I am Bob. Easy to remember. We have horses. Farming is in my roots. My great-grandfather was a farmer in Virginia. My great-uncles were farmers in Virginia. So in many ways, owning the ranch property is kind of like going back to my family roots in some respects. And having a ranch property where we can allow others to enjoy and benefit from with their horses is a huge blessing for us. My wife had always wanted horse property. We've had horses since 2004. We lived in Orange County, knew that we'd never be able to financially afford it in Orange County. And she continued to look for property, and she found this property, and we looked at it, and amazingly, we looked at it, made an offer, and literally within 48 hours from the time we looked at it, we were in escrow on the property.
Fantastic.
With our Fullerton property not on the market.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of knew this is where we were supposed to be. And it was nice to be able to finally know that our horses would be with us on our own property. And then we'd see where that leads. Little did we know, I mean, we knew some about Riverside, but little did we know how beautiful it is out here.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, the greenbelt, my wife and I have fallen in love with being in the greenbelt. It's the best of all worlds from our perspective. We got the horses, we got nature right around us, we have beautiful views, we have hawks that come right to the property, we have owls, and that's one of the things that's endeared us to the growers that we've gotten to know that are near us, is that none of them use any type of poisonous bait to deal with mice and rats and things like that. They understand the importance of allowing nature to do what nature does, and I think anything we can do to bolster the number of raptors, excuse me, in the area will only further enhance that, and how we can improve the quality of life overall. Plus, from a green standpoint, with 4,000 acres or so in the greenbelt, we provide Riverside with an abundance of green resources, and doing our part to clean up the air.
Clean up the air, improve quality of life for everyone in the area.
And improve quality of life. What I hope is that we find sustainable ways for people to experience the greenbelt, either through walking on the trails of the En-Gage Canal or other trails that could be maybe meandering through the greenbelt, and things like that, so they can experience that joy that we experience by living here. So, produce is grown locally, so that's a benefit to everybody that lives here. Air quality. The plants here take out bad stuff out of the air and clean the air up. Water quality. The thing that city residents need to understand is that those of us that live in the greenbelt, we're going to do our part to ensure that the city does their part to make sure the water quality is good. The greenbelt provides sustainability because it provides produce readily available that's homegrown. And on that note, I share our homegrown produce when I go to Orange County with people in Orange County. I'll go to the glass stand at the corner and I'll say, this was grown in Riverside. So for Riverside City residents, it's a wonderful opportunity. You can buy produce right here, grown literally almost in your backyard.
Or even in your
backyard.
Collect for you.
Moving here kind of reinforced what has been part of my priority in life to start with is, okay, where can we live where things can be sustainable, and where we can do our part to improve the environment and improve things around us and fit in. And living in the greenbelt is that place. One of the first meetings I had was with 4 people from the city because we had a concern about water drainage through our property, which we couldn't find an easement for that. And I remember one of the people that came out from the city said that out here is kind of like the Wild West, and it's like, well, that in a romantic sense that's kind of nice, but from a sustainability standpoint that kind of concerned me. It also told me that I needed to probably look to be more involved so that we could ensure that the greenbelt could be sustainable and continue to benefit the community in perpetuity. And I think that's the key, is we're not looking for reactionariness from council or from city staff. We want to be collaborate with them and be responsive together. Because how can someone that works for the city necessarily know what the greenbelt really needs?
Or it's never lived in the greenbelt.
Or that's never lived in the greenbelt. If you don't live here, you don't know what the greenbelt's like. You don't necessarily know what things may concern us. When trash shows up on Myers Street or Cleveland or somewhere, and if the city doesn't get rid of it right away, then automatically people start to think that they probably can dump trash there. Well, that's not good for our community, and it's not good for our city. Those of us involved in En-Gage need to work with council and other members in the community to help educate and inform the community about what economic sustainability means. These are people that really care about a sustainable area. Having neighbors band together to help one another, but also to voice the value of the greenbelt to council members, even council members that don't represent us. Because if the majority of council hears from people in the greenbelt, they're gonna know we have a voice. Sustainability is very important, and sustainability makes economic sense. And for Riverside, the greenbelt is key because it provides us a unique opportunity to grow not only plants that beautify people's land and property, but also fruit, oranges, lemons, grapefruits, avocados, grapes, I mean, you name it, and also have livestock like we do with horses on the property. And that sustainability is extremely important, especially if we find ourselves going through a major earthquake or some other calamity. At least for us, we have some produce and some other poultry items and things like that are here local, that we're not as dependent upon freeways to get here.
So we have some independence.
We have some independence.
Some sustainability, as you were saying, and some reliability. Food security.
We have more food security than other areas, and doing what we can to ensure that that continues is an important part, I think, of keeping Riverside the vital city that it is, and more importantly, the vital city that it can be going into the future. We certainly believe that having affordable water is important to the sustainability of the overall greenbelt. And that one of the things that I've told several people in the city, that if you want people to plant more trees, well, you can't charge them $100 a year to water that tree for the first 5 years or whatever it takes until the roots get down deep enough into the groundwater. So if we want a greener city, we have to look at water rates and what people are charged so that we can ensure that we do have a greener city. Because the average person's not going to spend $100 a year per tree for 5 years until they no longer need to pay for water. And so if we really do want us to become a greener city, in addition to the greenbelt, then the city needs to look at how it charges for water and do it in a more sustainable way in the future. When my wife and I live in an area, we want to do our part to ensure that the area is not only good where we're moving to, but we can do everything we can to help improve it and make it even better. And when I was approached by some local neighbors about En-Gage, I was very excited because it's like, well, yeah, we need to have a voice. I mean, we represent 4,000 acres of the city, and as far as I can tell, the city doesn't necessarily know that we have a voice. I think the community has banded together when there's been issues. 3 years ago, we had flooding occur in the area, and we all came together, and I was the one to reach out to the city regarding that. And so we come together and do things within the core group of neighbors that we have here. But I think what I personally like to see is more people speaking up for the greenbelt. Even if it's just taking a photo and sharing it with the council, and sharing it with the chamber, sharing it with the mayor, even simple things like that, just to reinforce the power and the beauty and the magnificence of the greenbelt. And going forward, I know that there's a general plan coming up for revision for this area. And in that process, it would be nice to have at least 25 to 30% of the area engaged in that discussion.
We'll have a voice on what's going to directly affect us.
Yeah, I mean, that voice means something. And that voice means that people are willing to step up. And then people need to step up and not just leave it to somebody else to do. You see something that needs to be fixed, you need to take the initiative and move forward.
Not be a bystander.
Don't be a bystander. I mean, being a bystander in life is no good for anybody. When you get 100, 200, 300 people from one area showing up or writing council, that gets their attention. And they realize, oh, we got people that care and that want to do their part to help make the city better. How often do we have the pleasure of doing our part to ensure that this is left for people after we're dead and gone to enjoy and to benefit from? You don't get that very often in life.
Not very often do you get to preserve open space for posterity.
No, and this is a balanced use of open space. You have growers, you have horse ranches, you have other poultry establishments and other things in the area. It's a great use of the land that causes no harm to anyone else, but it needs to be fought for, because it's so easy for developers to want to come in and just say, well, we want to build 1,000 homes. Because the more we get noticed, the more likely we're going to be able to find ways to look for a sustainable future.
It's so altruistic. I love that. We need more people like you to be involved. Well, like not just on the ag sense, but also on the community betterment. So your ultimate vision for the Greenbelt would be more of like a park-like situation, or more accessible? Well, more accessible. Park-like is a kind of a, when you say park, people can vision of like the sports complex that's down the street. Well, that's not the kind of park that the Greenbelt is suited for. The Greenbelt's suited for an open space, natural environment park where we look for ways to use nature to do the things, to clean up water and other things, and create maybe some estuaries and things like that that become more natural habitats for even the random egret and heron that come by, who maybe fish in the collection ponds at the nurseries. And things like that. So I think there's opportunity to enhance the trails and the green environment, and I think there are probably granting institutions that the city could maybe avail itself of that could further help that. I see an active and beautiful community. I'm a realist, though. I don't expect 1,000, 2,000 people that live in the Greenbelt, live and work in the Greenbelt, to all of a sudden be active. But if we can at least get 20 to 30 or 40 people that are really committed and active, and then they have people that they regularly communicate with what's going on, then that'll be beneficial. For those who, obviously you're not going to get the whole community to like jump aboard and want to be like in the core group, but for those who want to still contribute, how can they do that? What can they be supportive? How can they support? Can they go to our website, or is there going to be, you know, what? They can go to our website. They can email members that are being active, and email their council member and say, hey, I stand with them, and know that I'm watching what you do, and if it negatively affects the Greenbelt, you might be on the lookout. Your voters are watching. Your voters are watching. Yes. And they're listening, because the Greenbelt is vital to Riverside's long-term success and viability. And unless people engage, we don't have a society. We have individual people that are doing their own thing. What do you envision for the future of En-Gage? I envision that there'll probably be a core group of 20 or 30 people, just because it's hard to get 300 people or 400 people to really engage on a regular basis, that will really be involved and have maybe 10 people each that they're close with, and that they work together. We may not agree on everything, but we will agree on the one key thing, is that the Greenbelt needs to be assured to be sustained and vibrant and successful now and in the future. And regardless of other political things that may be going on, that's going to be the core, I think, for people is, okay, here's our one primary goal. We may disagree about who to vote for council or whatever, but our primary goal is to ensure that this area is sustainable, vibrant, and successful for those that live and work in it and those that live around and in the city of Riverside. So that's why I got involved. I believe, and my wife and I believe in doing our part to ensure that the area is sustainable and improved for the future, and we leave something behind that it isn't about us. It's about making sure that it's left behind for others as well.